You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Hi again, everybody, and good afternoon from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph for our weekly Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Monday, February 17th, 2025. I'm Tommy Rezach, Director of Broadcasting at Missouri Western State University, and anyone else sick of winter? 1, 2, 3, infinity? Everyone? Yeah, okay. Yeah, not the greatest of days out there weather-wise, but we appreciate everybody making the effort to come and join us today, or if you were unable to join us, we thank you for tuning us in on the Varsity Network app and at gogriffons.com/listen. Well, despite the difficulties and the weather today, we hope to have a good show over the next hour. Still plenty to talk about. And there are lots of things on the schedule this week. Now, does that mean they'll happen when and where it's specified right now? Not necessarily, with the cold temperatures and winter weather still expected to come this week. It's going to be a lot of just wait and see, tune in, and follow us on social media. Stay tuned to gogriffons.com throughout the week, because spring sports in a year, you're going to have a lot of changes. And with winter still holding its grip on us here over this last couple of weeks. So we'll just have to wait and see, but we do know basketball, tennis, baseball, softball, lacrosse, all scheduled to compete this week. Coming up on the program today, we have a couple of coaches who are out today. Cody Ingold, whose track team just competed at Pittsburgh State over the weekend. Cody is out taking care of a sick kid today. And then Alejandro De La Torre, the head tennis coach, they just came home from Edmond, Oklahoma after a pair of matches this weekend. Alejandro has some duties on campus that he's taking care of today. So those two will not be able to join us, but we will be joined in the program by head lacrosse coach Jessica Berg. The Griffon lacrosse team just opening their season. They did it indoors yesterday afternoon at the Griffon Indoor Sports Complex, taking on Colorado Mesa, a non-conference opponent from the RMAC conference, and it ended up being a thrilling match there at the end. Mesa jumped out to a big lead. Griffons rallied, but do come up short in a 15-12 decision. Lacrosse is scheduled to be back home this Sunday against another RMAC school, Colorado State Pueblo. Going to be in town this Sunday at noon, which in Colorado State Pueblo, they're going to play William Jewell on Wednesday, Rockhurst Friday, weather permitting, so we'll see what happens there. But another non-conference match. Missouri Western Lacrosse, in case you forgot, a 4-match homestand to open the season. They have a game against Westminster of Utah on February the 27th, and then Griffon Lacrosse also in action at home on Saturday, March the 1st. So, and then March 1st, they are going to take on UC Colorado Springs on Saturday, March 1st. So Griffon Lacrosse still a lot of home action coming up after their season opener on Sunday. We will hear from Missouri Western softball coach Nicole Thompson. Now, softball had a scheduled weekend off this week, but the Griffon softball is a big weekend coming up. 6 games, at least scheduled for 6 games in the Washburn tournament, which is supposed to be in Topeka, Kansas, but latest forecasts have them getting more snow than us. Nonetheless, Griffon softball scheduled for 6 games between this Friday and this Sunday. Missouri S&T, Wayne State, Rockhurst, Minnesota Crookston, Concordia St. Paul, and Minnesota State. Those are the slated games for softball coming up this weekend, which we'll talk with Coach Thompson about that. Basketball, we know this is a busy time of year. It's a big time of year. We're getting down to it with just 4 regular season games to go. Griffon basketball was home this past week to Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern. It wasn't our night Thursday, but it was our day on Saturday. Great attendance, great atmosphere. So many good events that were going on at home basketball games this week. Student-athlete academic recognition. It was faculty and staff appreciation. We had our pink out game. We had St. Joseph Appreciation Day on Saturday, and the people showed up. The people showed out to support the Griffon, so hats off to all of you for that. So both Griffon teams coming off their wins against Missouri Southern Saturday. We hit the road. It's our last MIAA road swing of the season. We go to Fort Smith, Arkansas, Tahlequah, Oklahoma. We'll play Fort Smith on Thursday night and Northeastern State on Saturday afternoon. And that's not even our last road game. We go to Emporia State still a week from this Wednesday, and then the regular season finale will be Saturday, March 1st, Senior Day, with a doubleheader against the Newman Jets. So that's what's coming up for basketball. Joining us from the women's team later on will be head coach Ashton Feldhaus, along with junior Jessica Ford. And then for the men's basketball portion of the program. We're going to be joined by the head coach himself, Will Martin, and then senior Julius Dixon, who just entered himself into the 1,000-point record book this past weekend. Juice and Kidtrell Blocker, senior guard originally of Rochester, New York, a first-year Griffin transferring in from IU Indy. So Kidtrell and Julius will join Coach Martin on the program a little bit later on today. So that's what we're talking about. Missouri Western baseball, Damian Stamberski has the week off from the program. And again, they're scheduled to be at home to open conference play this Friday, Saturday, Sunday against Central Missouri. Now again, those games are scheduled for Friday at 4, Saturday at 2, Sunday at 1 o'clock. What's weird about this week is it's supposed to be bitterly cold basically through Friday. And by the time we get to the weekend, calling for sunshine and highs in the 40s, supposed to be in the 50s by this time next week. So hopefully things will thaw out and cooperate with us here soon. Missouri Western tennis, again, Coach De La Torre not able to join us, but tennis is back home this Friday at noon to take on McKendree. We know that will go on because that's an indoor event. They'll play at Genesis Health Club Friday at noon. That's tennis against McKendree. So that's a look at the week that is ahead for us here on the Missouri Western campus. We'll go ahead and take our first break, and when we come back, Missouri Western head lacrosse coach Jessica Berg, fresh off of their season opener on Sunday afternoon, she'll give us some time to talk about that match with Colorado Mesa and to preview their Sunday contest with CSU Pueblo, which is coming up this Sunday at noon, which is scheduled to be at Spratt Stadium, scheduled to be outdoors, but we'll just kind of have to play the wait-and-see card this week as we've been talking about. So we'll talk Griffon lacrosse to lead things off next on the GSI Podcast, broadcasting live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Network. Well, given the weather today, I'm sure we wish we were on an island in the sun somewhere, but we are on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, joined now by head lacrosse coach Jessica Berg. The Griffon lacrosse team beginning their 5th season, the 4th under Coach Berg just yesterday. Not in the way we probably envisioned it, going indoors to the Griffon Indoor Sports Complex to host Colorado Mesa. I know this was days in the making, and folks like Grayson Dudley, Ashley Wicker, many others working hard to make that a possibility, so hats off to all of you guys. Colorado Mesa, though, winning it. Yeah, there you go. Mesa winning the match 15-12, and Coach, I know that didn't start the way you wanted, getting down 10-3, and then 15-6 start of the 4th, but boy, did your team show some guts late. 6 goals in the 4th quarter. Made it interesting, certainly at the end, but Mesa able to hold on for the win. Always hard to know, right, what to expect the first time out of the gate, and playing indoors, and just overall thoughts on how the day went yesterday.
Yeah, I think we knew exactly what to expect, and we just did not perform. We scouted. We knew they were going to do a lot of back cuts. We knew that move the ball quickly. We knew they were an aggressive team. They came out of the gate really, really fast, and our team took a really long time to wake up, and you can't expect to win a game if you don't play for the first 40 minutes.
Katrin Gilreath leading the way in scoring with 4 goals. Good to see her come back. And then Sam Pruitt, 3 goals, 3 assists. Brooke Chernlin, 2 goals. Ava Garraway, 11 saves, 15 goals. Probably not the debut that Ava wanted in Cage. Where was her mind at in the end of that one?
Oh, I'm really proud of how Ava performed. That was her first game that she had under her belt, so that was really great to see. As a goalie, it's really hard to stay mentally engaged when you're getting 1v none shots, so shots from the attackers with no defense on you, which were like the first 6 goals that Mesa had against her. So I was really glad that she stayed locked in. She was ready. She got some ground balls. She had some good saves. She really stepped up for the team. So I think she actually did really well for her first game. With her being able to have the record.
Yeah. Now, I know playing indoors yesterday, obviously you can't only have so many people in there, so many spectators. This was a possibility. We knew about it for days. And I know the sun shining in, kind of glaring in, made it hard to see at times. How do you feel like your team handled that part of it? What impact does that have, if any, on the game plan?
I think it should have given us a good advantage. We practice in there quite often with the weather we've been having. So I took that as, okay, we'll have the advantage. But unfortunately, we just got to take care of the ball. We turn it over way too often, and they capitalize on our turnovers, and we just couldn't capitalize on theirs.
Do you attribute that to just game jitters, or I guess what do you attribute all that?
You know, everyone says first game jitters, but to me, if you're a competitor, first game 5 minutes, maybe you can have jitters, and then after that, you have to really step up and lock in. So I think first game jitters, I don't know. I think it was just, again, they just had more fight and fire than we did, and we got to see it in the 4th quarter, which is really encouraging, but we got to have it for all 4 quarters. And imagine how that 4th quarter, for all 4 quarters, the score would be 20-0. So, yeah.
Okay. We're joined by Missouri Western lacrosse coach Jessica Berg. Well, it's another unpredictable week in the sense we know that we've got a game on the schedule. It's Colorado State Pueblo. It's scheduled for Sunday noon at Spratt Stadium, our normal venue. And Colorado State Pueblo, they got 3 Great Lakes Valley Conference teams they're supposed to play. They're scheduled to play Jewel on Wednesday, Rockers Friday, us on Sunday. And CSU Pueblo, up to now, they have not played a match yet. And we last played them 3 years ago. We played CSU Pueblo 21 and 22. So with that in mind, I mean, are you preparing to play indoors again? Is it just kind of a play it by ear thing, or how do you handle this week?
Yeah, we're just playing it by ear. We're blessed that we have the indoor. We're blessed we have that space so we can play regardless. And it's just preparing for the next game. I told the girls we have 24 hours to think about the loss to Mesa, and so they have a couple more hours left, and then we're moving on to CSU Pueblo, so it'll be good.
I obviously, I'm not as familiar with the facilities at Jewel and Rockhurst, whether they can play indoors or not, but how hard does that make it to scout this opponent, just knowing that the weather in our region's not been cooperating?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have any film on them yet, so just kind of looking at past years. It's the same coach, so usually they have similar offensive sets, similar defenses they run, so it's just going to be a lot more of what we expect and less like specific players. But Rockhurst, shout out to them. They do really well. Men's lacrosse team and women's lacrosse team, they shovel that field, so it is pristine usually. That's nice. But they don't have an option to go inside. So
yeah, I'm not sure William Jewell does either, but we'll just kind of wait and see how it goes. And I guess I'd end it with, I'm sure that post-game speech was fiery, and there was some disappointment. That being said, a whole week to get ready. What is your confidence level in this team's ability to bounce back and take that hard coaching?
Oh, yeah, I think getting punched in the mouth can be really motivating. I think obviously you want to come out with a dub, but when you lose, it's like, oh, we really got to step it up. What we're doing isn't enough. We got to really treat practice how we treat games. The errors that we make in practice are the errors that are biting us in the game. So it's really, I think it's motivating. I'm really excited. I think I'm encouraged, especially because we didn't give up on that game. We have a lot of fight on our team. We have a lot of really great athletes. So, like I said, I think it's almost a blessing in disguise that we had a really tough competition yesterday.
Yeah, to try to turn some negatives to positives here this week. As the season opener was just yesterday against Colorado Mesa, a team picked pretty high in the RMAC conference, and we talked about that the week prior, and they come away with a 15-12 win. The Griffins will try and shake it off. And again, scheduled for Sunday noon at Spratt Stadium. Just stay tuned to GoGriffins.com all week. Lacrosse, baseball, softball, but basically anyone that plays outdoors this time of year, vulnerable to the elements and the schedule changes. So stay up to date, and we'll keep you informed on what's coming up. But Coach Berg, thanks for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go. Jessica Berg joining us to lead off the program. Not the season opener we wanted, but lots of season ahead. Still 3 home matches between now and March 1st. So hopefully some chances for folks to come out and watch the Griffins play. We'll take a break and we'll talk Missouri Western softball. Griffin softball was off this past week. That was scheduled. That was by design. Griffin softball is scheduled this week to play 6 games in the Washburn tournament. We'll talk to first-year head coach Nicole Thompson about it next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, I'm Tommy Rezaj. Glad you're with us on a wintry Monday here in our city. Talking Missouri Western softball now with the first-year head coach Nicole Thompson. Now, Griffin softball was not in action this past weekend, but that was originally planned. The Griffins taking care of business the week prior at the George and Ola McCorkle Challenge down in San Angelo, Texas, winning each of the last 3 games there. So Griffin softball hasn't been in action for 8 days, and they're scheduled to get back at it 4 days from now in the Washburn tournament at Topeka, Kansas. 6 games in this order against Missouri S&T, Wayne State, Rockhurst, Minnesota Crookston, Concordia St. Paul, Minnesota State. So 3 doubleheaders slated to start this weekend. But Nicole Thompson, you're a Loveland native. You know this type of stuff well. But let's just start with the fact that you had the weekend off. It comes a bit early. It's a bit unusual perhaps, but how did your team enjoy, if not take advantage of some time away from the field?
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week of how we ended the weekend in Texas. It was kind of like, oh, shoot. Now looking back, hindsight, should I have taken this week off with the momentum that we had? But honestly, in hindsight, we had some sickness go through the team, so that kind of hit us at a good time. I also thought, like, just when I made the schedule with our pitching staff and the depth, that this was a good week in between our heavy non-conference schedules to kind of just reset, give the bodies a little bit of a break and get back to work. And so I think the team did a really good job. We kind of had a slow start to the week of practice of just like them kind of reminding them of like, hey, this was not a week off of practice, of, you know, still getting better and having intentional stuff at practice, but kind of just taking the load off of our bodies. And we traveled a lot, so getting them back in the classroom and making sure they were on top of that also. And we did some team bonding stuff. We were able to get to both basketball games this week as a group and do that academic stuff. So it was a good week, like I said, overall. Clearly not the warmest week, and we were, inside, but very, very, very thankful that we have the indoor facility that we do because, we were able to practice all week long as well. So
yeah, such a good sight to see on Thursday. Several hundred student athletes from all sports. I think it was like 300 plus honored for either having a 3.0 or better or a 4.0 GPA honored during those basketball games on Thursday night. So shout out to all the teams there. Well, we just read off that schedule. Now it's reached my attention that there's at least the look at the possibility of moving locations for this Washburn tournament because Topeka is scheduled to get probably more snow than us. At least that's the forecast. So 6 games Friday through Sunday, but what are those discussions like in terms of the scheduling right now?
I think it's a little bit of everywhere. I think we're waiting to see what snow does tomorrow.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I want to play anywhere that I can.
Right,
so
of course.
I don't think I can mentally take another week off and expect, to pick up to kind of where we left off. And it's just something, though, you kind of have to get with this sport. And then in the Midwest, the weather is out of my control. And it's taken me a little bit in my coaching career to understand that and to grasp that. So I'm just trying to stay positive about it. I've been trying to tell the kids, this is how adversity works. And if we get on the bus on Sunday and it's Sunday, Monday, then that's what we need to do, and we go with that. If it's moving down south a little bit, making sure that we get with our admin and being able to move things and, be flexible. But this group was really good about that. Yeah. I think they're ready for that. What we talked about at the end of practice yesterday, we have today off and kind of resetting our mindset and then, kind of getting back into that group of okay, wherever we need to go, whatever we need to do, however we get these games in this week, we go. So we're excited about it. It would be nice to keep them. They are a lot of regional points in these games.
4 regional games,
that's kind of why we set that schedule that way, and so it'd be really nice to be able to get that. But I think it's going to be a lot of the northern teams if they want to start to come down. Of course, it starts warming up next week, so as of right now, if we stayed in Topeka, they're looking at the Sunday, Monday. If they get the snow and it wipes us out, there's been talks of kind of taking it southern, but everywhere in America right now looks like it's in a cold streak.
Yeah, I pulled up a watches and warnings map yesterday just for fun, and all sorts of shades of colors all over the place.
Yeah.
What does the RMAC do to this time of year? Do they just play everything down south?
No. You get out the snow shovel and you shovel your field.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm happy I don't have to do that, and it just makes things, a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, you get a team that can get around that and understand of what we need to do when we need to do it, and it kind of makes it a little bit more, when we get to those games of these are the games we need to win, and these are the games we need to get focused in and locked in at, because you never know, we might have games be taken off, and those are regional points, and so it kind of makes those kids understand okay, every game is important to us and we got to get going. And so I wish I could say that I was away from the snow, but that is not the case right now.
Well, if anyone understands the logistical pains of this, it's you. You've been in part of it as a SID in the Sports Information Office, and now as a head coach. But whenever we play, we've talked about this before too. Still 12 games scheduled before our home opener in mid-March. I'm sure you're itching to play at home, but at the same time, is that maybe good to allow our field to thaw out a little bit?
Yes, the field needs to thaw out. That's definitely a thing. And I think it's also been good for this team to be on the road.
Yeah.
It's kind of challenged them. It's made them, understand of, what challenges it goes throughout the year. And we kind of talk about it of if you can go through these type of weeks and put your body through that and be mentally prepared each week to do that, then when we come home and we can play at home, it's kind of, a release and kind of a fresher breath air. And so I kind of like challenging those kids and figuring out who can handle that, honestly, and want to grind through it. And we know that kind of going into it, and I think I would much rather want to be playing in nicer weather at home anyways than, trying to get the field ready and, have to get something going where we might not have it. And so, it'll be nice. I'm excited to get this group back. Like I said, we had some sickness run through the team, so get everyone healthy and ready to roll.
Well, the light at the end of the tunnel is when we're sitting up here next week, we're have sunshine and 50s. At least that's what they're talking about. So there is light at the end of this tunnel this week. But like I said with lacrosse and every other spring sport, just follow all your favorite Griffin teams on social media, Missouri Western Athletics, Facebook, X, and Instagram, and at gogriffins.com. Great resources. We'll keep you up to speed on whatever ends up happening this week. But Coach Thompson, appreciate you taking some time today. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem.
There you go. Nicole Thompson, Missouri Western softball, getting ready for possibly 6 games this week in Topeka or maybe somewhere else. So we'll just wait and see what happens there. All right, we'll take a break. We'll talk basketball coming up over the next half hour or so. We'll lead it off with women's basketball, fresh off their win against Missouri Southern, getting ready for a long road trip to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Ashton Feldhaus and Jessica Ford, 2 people that I imagine are missing sunny St. Petersburg, Florida right about now. But we'll talk to them coming up in just a moment on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Keeping things rolling on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. I'm Tommy Rezach. Just want to say a big thank you to all of you showing out today. Maybe not the easiest of days to get out, so we certainly appreciate it as we continue talking women's basketball now with the head coach Ashton Feldhaus and a 5'11" junior from Marlborough, England, like Coach Feldhaus, joining us from Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida. Jessica Ford joining us. Ladies, thanks so much. Ashton, you said I made you almost cry getting up here when I just mentioned the fact of the Florida sunshine. I'll say it. This is my 4th year here. This has been a harsh winter. I'm sure a tough adjustment in some ways, though, right?
I think that's an understatement. Yeah, it's a tough lifestyle switch, but we make the most of it, I think is a good way to put it.
Honestly, I tell people this time of year, if it wasn't for college basketball, I'm not sure what I would do. January, February with the short days and everything. Well, let's dive into the week. Thursday, we knew we had a big challenge in front of us in 5th-ranked Pittsburgh State. 77-62 Gorillas end up winning that one. As good as they are, I know there was some disappointment at the end of that one. Talked a lot, Coach Feldhaus, about effort or maybe lack thereof in parts of that game, but your team responded, beating a pretty solid Missouri Southern team on Saturday, 77-67. So, I don't know, what did you see in the 36 hours between games? And, boy, your team came out ready to play on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I thought we played good on Saturday. I think Thursday we would look kind of shell-shocked. I think it was a game with, heavy implications, and we just weren't ready. So, kind of shocked, to be honest, the way we started. Never did I think we'd go into halftime having not hit a 3. And we are a team that lives and dies by the 3-point line. So, but that wasn't really the concern because we live and die by the 3-point line. If you're not hitting shots, it is going to be hard to beat a team, especially like Pitt. But we just got destroyed, and they were effort plays, like the 50-50 basketballs. We weren't making an effort to. We got out-rebounded. There's 3 Griffin jerseys and 1 Pitt jersey, and she gets it. So it was not our best performance. But we spent literally the one day in between. We didn't spend a lot of time on Southern. It was a lot of time on us. Just, this is not acceptable. And I think I said it after the game on Saturday, but our kids always respond really, really well. So, and I thought they did. I thought they played great. Even having a couple people in foul trouble, we had some other kids step up, Laura Tafali being one. I thought she was fantastic. And then I had to send some kids that are slider and frame, like Jessie, down to guard their post player because Cass was in trouble. But we make it work. But when I think we had 21 assists or something crazy like that. So when we do that stuff and we're scoring the basketball and shooting, it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, this team is top 3 in the league in turnover margin, assist to turnover ratio, assists per game. So the Griffins doing a pretty good job taking care of the ball. And mentioned at the rim, the play was really solid Saturday. 32 points in the paint. And Jess, you were back in the starting lineup on Saturday in that game. A game in which you never trailed. You hit a 3-pointer in that game. I think it was the first half. Rebound and an assist for you as well. And we've seen some really good centers in this league. Ryan Franklin, a Southern, one of them. And it reminded me of the Washburn game where as soon as she touched the ball, you and 2-3 others on her right away. Just defensively, what was the plan and how do you feel like it worked for you guys?
Yeah, that's one of the main things is we're significantly undersized at the 5 position.
Yeah.
So scout and kind of stuff going through the week when there is such a dominant 5-man, we kind of have to look to double when they catch the ball, try and keep them out of the paint best we can, weak side squeeze, all that sort of stuff comes into play when we kind of lack size and strength. I significantly lack that as well when I have to go down and guard the 5, so it takes a whole team effort then.
Yeah.
You kind of have to sort of help off certain people and know the people that we're helping off of as well. So just kind of sort of playing as a whole team instead of just managing your own man at that point.
Now, Jess has played in every game so far this year, 17 starts, third on the team with 26 made threes, third in total rebounds with 99. And we talked to Cassie was up here a couple weeks ago that, this team doesn't have so much bigs as it does lanky guards, people, maybe learning to play a new position or out of position. That in mind, how big of a learning curve has that been for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've had to adapt too much from my role at Eckerd. It's still very much like knocking down open shots, rebounding. I go down and guard the 5 and run the 5 on our offenses when Jaden and Cass are in trouble. So I sort of, if they aren't in trouble, I stay out of that position. Yeah. But I mean, it's basketball. Stuff happens. Calls go certain ways, and you do have to kind of adapt on the fly. And I think the fact that we go through our offenses and I've kind of had a year of that previously playing with coach under my belt, I can run those plays at different positions without coach having to call like timeouts and draw up plays. I sort of can remember what the 5 does from the guard's position. So it kind of is helpful in that sense, just to be able to adapt mid-game without having to waste like timeouts and stuff.
Jessica Ford, again, transferring from Division II Eckerd College, originally from Marlborough, England, but like many of our internationals, all of them really, playing in the U.S. Sometime before that, you were at Colorado Northwestern Junior College, having a pretty good career, and Coach Feldhaus, you were able to get her to St. Petersburg with you for a year, starting 22 games, part of a Sunshine State Conference Tournament Championship about a year ago. What was it about Jess's game that stood out to you originally?
She's versatile. First off, she's a great kid. She's like one of our 4.0 kids. Don't have to worry about her off the floor. As soon as we got her on the call, she was our fit at Eckerd, and it's trying to be kind of what we're simulating here, trying to get to that point. So character-wise, she was a no-brainer, and then skill-wise, she's gotten a lot better. She shoots the ball great. She can guard different positions, and because she's so long and lengthy, we can maneuver around, and now she's just kind of filling holes for us. She's right. When Cass and Jaden get in foul trouble, she's the next one up, be it regardless what she looks like. She's all we've got. So we put her down there. But, yeah, she's great, and she just – the way she adapts to things, I think, is great. None other than completely different than what we did with Eckerd coming here, but she just takes everything in stride, and some days she flies under the radar, which is not a bad thing, right? She just manages herself like a young adult should. So, yeah, I have nothing but praise for Jessie.
Well, Jess, you've seen a lot of corners of this country, Northwest Colorado, the coast, and now here, Middle America, to follow Coach here on her first head coaching job. I talked to her at Media Day at length about a lot of this, but here we are, 4-something months later, 4 games to go. Just how would you just summarize this journey with you and these 9 other players?
It's been quick, that's for sure. Yeah. I think this is the year I've actually sort of realized that time flies. Oh, yeah. And I mean, looking back now, we're actually in February, which is insane. But it's been such a journey, I think, to come into a new group with some players returning from the previous head coach and some that coaches had with her own recruiting class. It's kind of been to see how we've all molded and sort of gelled together and become the team that we are has been great. Internationals and domestics as well. It's sort of a nice mix, and I think we're finally figuring out how the pieces click together. And coaches said like February is our month, and I mean it's the best time to kind of find the things that work well.
That's right. We got about 2 weeks to go in February. That means we got 4 regular season games left, a 3-game road trip right now, which is kind of a tough draw, but it's what we've got. And we've got Arkansas Fort Smith on Thursday, Northeastern State on Saturday. These are sneaky, tough games. I mean, you could say that for most MIAA road trips. But Fort Smith, a newcomer to the MIAA, they've gone toe-to-toe with some of the best in the league, 15-9 overall, 9-6 in the league. Conversely, Northeastern, yeah, they've struggled a bit, but they've played a really hard schedule lately. Pitt, Northwest, Washburn, they've lost 4 in a row. But as we learned last January, that's a tough place to play and go and win. So start of a tough trip here, Coach, and another long bus ride for you and the girls, I know. But just starting with Fort Smith, what stands out there?
They are long and lengthy, and so athletic. So somewhat of a clash of styles. They're looking to attack our feet, and they'll post us up and use their length. So it's the same thing everyone else has been doing for us. But they're one of the most athletic teams in the league. They may be the most athletic team. So they've got good foot speed, great size, and they're the type of team that'll jump and shoot over top of you, which is a little concerning for us because we're there a lot of times. We're just smaller at multiple positions. So it's going to be figuring out how to guard, and they said 1 million ball screens. So can we keep them in front on a ball screen and then be there with a hand literally in their face at this point to try and make it a little harder when they shoot those pull-up jump shots. So they're athletic and they're good. I do think we have the foot speed off the dribble, like them keeping us in front of them is going to be a challenge for them. But playing there, they've played great. So, they're very good, and for their first year in the league, doing a great job.
Now, Northeastern State, not, I think some folks might think just from the outside, like, oh, Northeastern, easy win, right? No, Northeastern, they've had a bit of a culture change there. Keith Ferguson, in his second year as the head coach, brought them to the MIAA tournament last year, and they're fighting to get there again this year. 10-14 overall, 6-9 in the conference. These are two teams that can win at home. Fort Smith 9-2 at home. Northeastern 7-5. Jess, any final thoughts from you? I know this has been a learning curve seeing this MIAA for the first time, and two teams we haven't seen yet. Just what is you and the team hoping to get out of this week?
We always want to have a sweet week and go 2-0, whether it's at home or on the road. But I think a common theme with the MIAA is that no team is everyone can beat everyone.
Yeah.
The top teams are just as good as the bottom teams on any given night, and it really is who turns up to play. And we've kind of had the shock of that on game days ourselves, where on paper a team may look like it's an easy win for them, and on the day it's really not. So it's just kind of taking each game as it comes, looking into scout, listening to what coach wants us to do, and trying to execute on the day and get a win.
When I was doing that game on 38 The Spot Saturday, I looked at that Pitt Northwest score, and Northwest was up 18 middle third quarter, so that just goes to show. And we'll talk about this with the men, but Fort Smith Northeastern, they knocked off number 1 Washburn, both of them this past week. So, yeah, this is a crazy time of year. And Coach Ed, I want to actually real quick, Coach Feldhaus, Coach Edmondson made a great point. He said, this is the time of year where gas tanks kind of get empty. You kind of find out, who's hot, who's not, who's for real, and who's not. But you've said time and again that it's this team's work ethic, that if anything's going to set them apart, it's that, how hard they've been working.
Yeah, and we do have the work ethic piece, and I think Jesse's right. I've said it to him a lot. We've laughed about it. Like, February kind of feels like our month, which is fun. But you're mentioning like gas tanks. We're super mindful of that as a staff because we do only have the 10. So in practice, the way we're tailoring things and cutting things back, because you're right, you are who you are at this point. It's all fine tuning. So I'm excited for our bunch. I know they're excited. They're like starting to get that feel, that March feel, because after Christmas, it's like a drag. It's just a grind. And basketball season, people don't realize how long it is. And on their bodies and mentally, it's going to be your tougher teams kind of that prevail there at the end, and then your teams who kind of hit a hot streak. And I'm really hoping that's us, because I think our bunch has worked for it.
Winners of 5 of the last 6, and number 2 now in the KPI standings, so still right toward the top in a stacked MIAA. 5:30 on Thursday, Saturday at 1:30, and I'll be there giving you commentary of those games. So, ladies, safe travels. We'll see you there.
Same to you. Thanks,
Thank
Tommy.
you. Thanks, guys. Jessica Ford, Ashton Feldhaus joining us here on the program today. We really appreciate them making some time for us. But we're not done yet. We'll take a break. We'll talk men's basketball now, and we're going to have a whole men's basketball roundtable. The head coach, Will Martin, seniors, Julius, Dixon, and Kidtrell Blocker to talk about a split week against Pittsburgh State and Southern. And same thing, they're going to go to Fort Smith and Northeastern this week. We discuss it next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Final segment of the program today, men's basketball joining us now. The Griffon men entering the week 16-10 overall, 7-8 in the MIAA, getting ready for a double dip on the road against Arkansas, Fort Smith, and Northeastern. Here to talk about it, head coach Will Martin and a pair of seniors, 6'7" senior guard/forward, and the 20th Griffon in history to score 1,000 points in our campus, Julius Dixon, joined by a 6'5" senior, originally from Rochester, New York, first-year Griffon, a transfer of Division I Indiana University of Indianapolis, Kidtrell Blocker. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time. I guess we'll lead off with you, Coach. Kind of like the women, right? It wasn't quite our night against Pittsburgh State on Thursday. We, let a tight game get away, but a strong bounce back against Southern. You break that losing skid, secure the winning season. We get juice into the record books as well. Just thoughts on the week overall.
Yeah, I thought we started the game off well against Pitt State.
Yeah.
And in the second half, I think we had a 5-point lead. Losing Kiani for the last 12 minutes, that really hurt us. I mean, he's such an anchor to our defense, more so even than our offense. And so, credit to Pitt State. They're a really good team. I think they're second or third in the league right now. But I thought we responded well against Moso, and we knew they were going to zone a little bit, so we prepped for that, and I thought our guys shared the ball extremely well. Both against the zone and against their man defense. We had 21 assists, 8 turnovers. You're putting yourself in a really good situation to win games when you do that. And then we got to the free throw line 21 times. In the Pitt game, we shot 8 free throws to their 24 free throws.
Yeah.
And part of that was because we were 8 for 26 from 3. We're just casting up threes. And so I thought against Moso we were a lot more aggressive. We got a lot more paint touches. And, when that happens, you're shooting more efficient from the field, but you're also getting to the free throw line more.
Now, Julius Dixon hit that 1,000-point mark relatively early, 15 first-half points, ending the day with 17, 9 rebounds, 3 of 6 from 3. Juice, I know this team was aware of what was happening and how close you were, but when I asked Coach Martin in postgame, he said, that he caters this offense around people's strengths, including you, and so when the ball's coming to you and you're knocking down shots and just playing with confidence, it's got to make the experience a lot more fun for you, right?
It does. It makes the experience really fun. Coach Will and the staff, they know what they're doing, so it's a lot of trust between players and coaches, and obviously I trust Coach Will a lot. So
3 former teammates of yours, Will Eames, Reese Glover, Jerron Thames, all hit this 1,000-point mark, and you got to play with them. Just to kind of be up there with some of those guys. Tyrell Carroll, another one that Coach Martin helped get to 1,000 career points. I mean, just to be in that fraternity, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Just truly blessed to play the game. Just want to really just thank the coaches, my teammates for helping me get there, and like I said, it means a lot to me. So
yeah. Now, Kidtrell blocker, your production, you've been in there a lot, 5+ points each of the last 4 games. I want to talk about your journey a little bit. You were getting healthy minutes at the Division I level. Started off at Buffalo, a couple years at UIndy, 2 places where you were playing and starting. Now coming here, one of a handful of high-level transfers to come join us here. We're well into this thing by now, but what can you say about the experience? Has it been what you hoped it would be?
Yeah, definitely. Coming to Mo West, I've been grateful to meet a lot of new teammates and start a relationship with new coaches. This is my last year, so I want to go out with a bang. I want to win. So it's been great.
What was it about kind of Coach Martin's philosophy and style that appealed to you? I mean, you're a long ways from home, we know, but what is it about kind of this MIAA and more specifically Coach Martin's philosophy that you thought would fit your game?
Well, first, just the relationship that we built in the portal while I was in the portal back in the summer. It just started non-basketball talk and then just life talk, and then eventually we started talking basketball and how me being long guarding can, help, being able to knock down the 3, being able to finish in transition, and that's something that the team needed. And just being able to stop defenders all over, 1 through 4. He actually said 1 through 5 in the portal, but 1 through 4, being able to guard 1 through 4.
Yeah, Kidtrell blocker made a start at Fort Hays State earlier this season in place of Zion Swader when he sat out with that nose injury. But obviously Z has come back, played really well, as we know. But Coach is kind of bouncing off of that. We said it in the offseason. We were really excited about some of the high-level transfers that you added. And with a guy with as much starts in his minutes at the D1 level, I'm sure a lot of people were after him. Just how fortunate do you feel to add Kid to the mix?
Yeah, I mean, he started it off by talking relationship. And to me, that's what it's always about. So, he's been a great player for us, extremely efficient from the field, efficient from the three-point line, somebody that I can trust defensively. I know I can play him 30 minutes or 6 minutes, and he's going to be a great teammate. He's going to bring great energy on the bench, and I always appreciate that. And, I think that for him as a player, it's us as a staff trying to figure out how to keep him on the floor longer. He gets gassed and then checks himself out. I told him the other day, hey, man, if you check yourself out, you can check yourself back in. And so I still think that we haven't seen Kid's best. I don't think anyone has. I don't think that Buffalo or UIndy got his best, and that's not anything like in terms of effort. I just think that there's so much potential in that kid as a player and a person. And so these last 4 games, man, I'm excited to see what Kid does.
And Kidtrell playing in every game this year, averaging north of 16 minutes a night. Want to go back to Julius real quick, and of course we discussed it that you've seen some really good players just in your 5 years with us, and now Julius adding to that history. We knew right away, his first year on campus with us, 28 double-digit efforts, and what does it mean for you to see him kind of reap some of those rewards in his last year with us?
Well, I mean, he took a risk coming here, and so I told him the other day, thanks for believing, man, because it hasn't been, sunshine and rainbows every day. This is a tough deal, and we've battled injuries and we've battled illness, and he's battled ups and downs and mental health and everything else, and he took a risk coming to St. Joseph, Missouri. from Moorhead and being from Tennessee.
Yeah.
And, every step of the way, he's been about our coaching staff. He's been about his teammates, and he's been about this community. And I couldn't be more proud of that. And, I think that Julius is going to have a chance to play professionally for a few years, but who he's going to become as a man whenever the ball stops bouncing, I'm looking forward to see who that man is, because he's a special person.
Absolutely. We're joined by Missouri Western men's basketball coach Will Martin, Kidtrell blocker Julius Dixon here on the GSI podcast. Well, I'll just kind of open this up to you two. We know what's ahead, right? We got 4 games left, 3-game road trip coming up. This league is the Wild West right now. We saw that with Washburn going on the road and losing a couple. I mean, at 2 through 10, I feel like people just beating up on each other, but here we are in a pretty decent spot. Our goal's still in front of us. Coach Martin's talked a lot about staying together and staying the course through the ups and downs. Just starting with Kid and going to Julius, how do you feel like this team has stuck together, and how driven are you guys to go out with a bang this year?
I feel like we stuck together a lot coming into this year. We started off hotter than, we're necessarily ending right now, but throughout the year we've been going through a lot of ups and downs, and we always, respond with each other. We can always conversate within each other, and I feel like we're going to finish out just how we think so,
Yeah. Juice, anything to add
no
there?
jinx.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, just same thing as Kid saying. We've been through some ups and downs, but mainly I feel like we stayed together, stayed the course, and I think keeping those small goals, like trying to finish our goal with 2-1 or trying to sweep 3-0, keeping that in mind each game or each series, I feel like that helps us a lot, just like staying in the now and staying present.
Yeah. Just a quick preview of what's to come this week. Arkansas, Fort Smith on Thursday, Northeastern State Saturday, and we said at Fort Smith shocked Washburn in overtime, and then Northeastern won a close battle, beat them by 4 against the top-ranked Ichabods on Saturday. So Pittsburgh State, winners of 5 straight, now they're threatening for the MIAA title. But in terms of, as we're concerned, 2 teams, Coach, I think are just better than what their record indicates. Northeastern, a much improved team this year. They're sitting at 14-10. And Fort Smith, yeah, they had their struggles early, but suddenly they've beaten number 1 in the country. They've beaten Kearney, Southern, Central Oklahoma. They've strung together some good ones. Long trip, again, just like for our women. Just thoughts on this slate ahead. Oh, sorry, your mic was off. There
Dang, you cut me off, man.
I know.
Turn this TV off. I wish, I wish people would not talk about records in this league. And we've gotten to a point as a staff when we do our scout, like I'm trying to erase that, because I learned a long time ago in the MIAA that if you start thinking that Washburn's going to go in and they're just automatically going to beat Fort Smith, you're crazy. Or if you just assume that you're going to go in and get 2 wins, you're crazy. Like, this league is too good. And, you talk about Fort Smith being better than their record. That's every team in this league is really, really, really good, really, really, really talented. They have really good coaches who scout, who are locked in. It's hard to play on the road in this league. And so I'm not looking at Fort Smith's record. I'm also not looking at the fact that they just beat the number 1 team in the country. Like, we have to approach Arkansas, Fort Smith very pragmatically and very stoically, and understand that every game on the schedule from here on out, it's all about us. It's not about the opponent. It's not about what their record is. It's not about what they've done. It's not about who they've beaten. It's not about who they've lost to. It's all about us becoming the best version of us. And I know that sounds cliche, and we've been talking about that a lot this year. But now more than ever, if you go into a game and you're thinking, well, they have this record, or they're tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Like, I hate that crap. They're all really good. They're all really good, and they all have something to play for. And so, our mindset is we got to go in and we have to not only match but exceed everybody's energy, everybody's intensity, everybody's intentionality, and everyone's intellect. And if we do that, we have a good chance to win. If we don't do that, if we have these preconceived notions that this team is this rank or this team is this record, you're going to get smacked. You're going to get punched in the nose, and you're not going to be able to respond. And so for us, we're not worried about the records. We're not worried about the rankings. We're worried about the time that we still have together and becoming the best version of us. And we feel like if we can become that, we got a good chance.
Yeah. And gentlemen, I'll just end it with you. We were talking with Coach Feldhaus about players, taking care of their bodies. We have been playing for 3+ months with still lots of season to go. Just what is that challenge right now, getting with the trainers and just making sure that you are your best selves with still all these games left?
I feel like our team does a pretty good job of trying to take care of our bodies and get in the training room as much as possible. I mean, I haven't really been in the training room that much, but when I do feel nicked up and I have a little injury or something like that, I feel the need to go to see Savannah, and she does a good job. So
Kid, anything to add there?
Yeah, same. I never have a cold tub and a hot tub, so I utilized that in the beginning of the year a lot. But you know, me in my younger collegiate years, I was kind of like a natural healer, so I never really went to get treatment or anything. So I definitely grown and matured, going more and checking on my body.
Well, I think about, the toughness of this team, not only seeing St. Nelson overcome what he came, but Kid, Rogers State, I think you bled twice in that game, and I'm looking at like 3 guys with patches over their eye, and we kept fighting. So, I mean, maybe it's weird to say, but does that not speak to the toughness and resilience of this team?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, you got to play through what you got to play through.
Yeah.
And bounce back just like Zane. He came back the next game. So, definitely. Yeah,
it's been a welcome sight, and the Griffins looking to stay healthy, stay as one here down the stretch, as the next games are Fort Smith Thursday, Northeastern Saturday, at Emporia next Wednesday, and then before you know it, Senior Day. We'll on to these 2 guys and 7 other seniors on Saturday, March the 1st against Newman, before we go off to Kansas City for the MIAA tournament. Almost March, Coach. You've said it several years in a row. Want to be playing your best basketball right now.
That's right, and it starts in practice today. So.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
There you go. Kidtrell blocker, Julius Dixon, Will Martin, giving us some time on men's basketball. Thanks, guys. Yeah, really appreciate the time. Again, congratulations to those guys on all of their success, and still a lot of story to be written this year. I mean, women's basketball has 16 wins, men's basketball 16 wins. We're going on the road. Job's not finished, and this is going to be a really important, critical stretch coming up. Men's basketball, by the way, I know Coach doesn't care, but number 6 in the KPI ranking. So if the season ended today, men's basketball would be the 6th seed in the MIAA tournament. So that's just kind of where we are. The Griffins continue to look to pad that resume. All right, I will take a quick break, and we'll wrap up. Actually, hang on. I think we'll wrap up the show right now. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of our audience for coming out. Want to thank head coaches Jessica Berg, Nicole Thompson, Ashton, Feldhaus, Will Martin. A big thanks to our student athletes, Jessica Ford, Kidtrell blocker, Julius Dixon, for coming out. Thanks to our hosts, patrons, Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Terrific audience, especially given conditions outside. So we appreciate you guys making the time. And the best of luck to both basketball teams, tennis, baseball, softball, lacrosse, some of those weather permitting, and best of luck to all of our teams competing home and away this week. Again, I say stay tuned to GoGriffins.com and Missouri Western Athletics on social media for any impending schedule and venue changes to contests going on this week. I'll talk to you Thursday from the UAFS Stubblefield Center in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I'll be with you in Tahlequah Saturday as well on the Varsity Network app, GoGriffins.com/listen, to bring you live coverage of Missouri Western men's and women's basketball. And as always, subscribe to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever you podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Tommy Rezach. Have a great week, everybody.